Okay. So last day, we just been discussing about we just been completed talking on jQuery and Ajax. How to use jQuery in our applications is what we have been discussed up explicitly. So if you observe it, I just been showing you like how to write the jQuery code. Two examples I shown you. One, how the cricket score gets updated for you automatically in the page. And the second one is how to implement a autocomplete text box. How to implement a autocomplete text box is the second thing what we have just been learned, how the implementation. Okay. Next. The next thing is we're going to talk on a topic called as Web API. So what is this Web API? See, we know web applications. Web application. What does a web application send? If I send a request to a web application, if I send a request to a web application, it will send you a web page back as a response. Yes or not? If you send a request to a web application, it will send you a web page back as a response. A web page will come for you back as a response. Okay. So what is that? If at all you want to, if you are sending a web, if at all you are sending a request to a web application, so a web page will be coming back as a response to you. Same like this, we have a concept called Web API. Web API. What is the Web API? If you send a request to a Web API, it will send you data as a response. It won't send you a page as a response. What will send you? Data as a response. So what is the need of this Web API? What is the need of this Web API and why do we use this Web API in our applications? See, my application, I'm developing a online shopping cart application. I'm developing a online shopping cart application. And in this shopping cart application, the requirement is like the user, when he completes his shopping, when he's going to a bill payment, there is a credit card. There is a credit card using which the customer is going to pay the bill. So the user enters the credit card number. And once the user enters the credit card number, I need to validate this credit card is a valid data or not. Are you getting my point here? We need to validate the credit card is going to provide you the valid data or not. So how do you verify? Do you have access to a bank's website now? Do you have access to the bank's website? Can you access a bank website? Sorry, a bank database, not a website, a bank database. Can you access the bank database? Then how can you validate it? Are you getting my point or not? Let's say generally, you don't require to connect it to the banking side directly. All these cards are maintained, all these cards are maintained by either Visa or Master. All these cards are maintained either by Visa or Master. If you see on all your credit cards and debit cards, you'll be finding in the bottom, the right bottom, you'll find a Visa or Master or something. They will maintain the information. So they are going to maintain all the information. They're very secured. They're very secured. They're in contract with the companies, with the banking companies, and they maintain all the data. They maintain all the data. So tomorrow, can I directly connect it to the Visa server and validate the card now? Or can I directly connect to a MasterCard server and validate the data? Does it provide you access? No. Someone telling, yes, sir. Who are the bank? They give you data like this. They give you data like, what is the security now? The bank is giving you the Visa or the Master to maintain the data. Visa or Master starts giving the data to everyone now. That's a threat to the bank now. So that is dangerous. You can't access. You cannot go for accessing the data. See, I want to validate this credit card now. I want to check whether this credit card number, the expiry date, and still the CVV number, all these things are valid. I need to connect to the Visa server, or I need to connect to the MasterCard server and access the data and just check it out. But no way, they will not provide this information to you directly. They don't give access to the database. They don't give access to the database. But see here, business is important. See, now Visa or Master wants the business now. Bank want the business now because they get a lot of money out of the credit card. If you correctly pay, make your payments, good. You don't have any extra charges. But you make late payments now, the interest rate is very high. The interest rate is very, very high. Are you getting my point or not? How do they say the interest rate is 3%? Interest rate generally, when you take a loan from a bank, they say interest rate is 10%. 10% interest rate means they say it for a year. 10% or 9% interest rate. Suppose they say 9% is the interest rate. That is per year, not per month. Per year means what is that? If you take 1,000 rupees, you require to pay some 9 rupees as an interest now. Are you getting my point here? Okay, so basically the interest is calculated per annum there. It is calculated per annum. But when you take credit card, they say 3% interest. Everyone will think, oh, 3% only now, but credit card interest is per month. They say per month. If you say per month, do you know what is that? 36 rupees per annum. 36% per annum. Means you're taking for a 3 rupees interest. Bank will give you home loans and all for 75 paise interest. 75 paise, 1 rupee maximum. Okay, but if it's credit card payments and all, the interest rate is going to be 36%. Means 3 rupees per 3 rupees. Means for 100 rupees, 3 rupees per month. They will say only for a month there. So most of the people get cheated there only. What do you say? Are 3% only no interest? What do you think? 3% means very less, you think. But here they say not per month. Not per annum. What they say? It is per month. So that's if you calculate it per annum, 3 into 12, 36%. Got it? Okay. Means per 100 rupees, 36 rupees should be paid as interest now. That will be the way how they calculate the interest in that case. So what happens generally is bank wants business. If people start using credit card only, they'll get money from that now. A lot of charges and all these things they'll charge now. They'll get money from that. So bank don't want to lose the business. So here you are maintaining your business is you're selling some goods now. You're selling some goods. You're a retailer selling some goods. And now customer will pay by card. Customer is going to pay by card. This card should be validated now under the bank's server. Directly not bank. I said, there is a contact, there is a central, who is it? Either Visa or Master. Now, bank wants the business. If bank wants the business, they should provide access to the data now. If they don't provide access to the data, how can you validate the card now? Yes or not? So bank wants business. But even the bank wants business, they cannot expose their data to others. They cannot expose the data to others. So security is important, and at the same time, business is also important. So in such type of scenarios, without giving this direct access to the data, we use this concept called as APIs. What is an API? API is nothing but a library. It's just a library. So what is this API or a library is? Nothing, guys. The architecture will be something like this. Just watch. This is the customer. This is the shopping cart site now. Okay. And now this is the Visa server. The Visa or the MasterCard servers. Now the shopping cart site want to contact the server and find out whether the card is valid or not. So tomorrow for this server, for this shopping cart application, if I give access to this, they can steal all the information now. they can steal all the information, and what they can do, they can sell it. They can sell it. Selling the information is a big business. Selling the information or selling the data is a big business. Facebook is just going, Facebook, I say, US government has taken serious action on the Facebook for these reasons only. Many of that. What do? They just, the privacy of the customer is completely going to be lost. They will sell the data to others. That is a very big business in the industry. What you don't know is that there are crores of business. Many companies, see, when you go to a shopping mall, they'll tell you, sir, there is a lucky draw, fill your number. Yes or not? Or many people think, are a lucky draw, you enter the number. And after that, you start getting calls from different companies now. They sell the data. They'll be directly selling up all the information like this. Understood? Okay. So that's why if I expose this server now, if I expose the Visa server to the shopping cart site, they will steal the whole data and they will make a copy of it and put under their machines now. And they'll start selling the data to others. So to overcome this particular problem, what will they do is they write some services here. This is a server, and under this, there will be a service running. There will be a service running. Okay, just a minute. Who is this? This is a client, end user. End user. And what is this one? This is a shopping cart. This is a shopping cart site. And what is this? This is the Visa or MasterCard service. Visa are the MasterCard server. Okay. Now, the end user, what is going to do? End user is going to enter the credit card details in the site. Now they want to validate it under the server now, but they don't have an access. They don't have an access. But business is important for both shopping cart also, as well as for the bank also. For both of them, the business is very, very important, crucial. But they cannot expose the data. What will they do? They write some services here. They write some service here. Okay. And what happens is this service will be connecting to the server. And what will you do? This will be requesting the service. When you request the service, providing the details, what details? Credit card number, valid through, CVV number. If all these things are sent to the service as a input, the service will contact the server and provide the information to you. What information? Whether this is a valid card, invalid card. That's all. So they don't give you any data. What they give you is only true or false. That's me. They don't give you the complete access to data. What is required for you, that is only given to you. That's all. Did you catch my point or not? They don't give complete access to the data. What is required for you, that is only they're going to provide to you. For example, in your website, you wanted to display, your website is about Hyderabad city. Your website is about Hyderabad city. You developed a website, hyderabadcity.com. And in the website, you will be completely publishing the information of Hyderabad. Complete information of Hyderabad. Suddenly, if there is some event in some place, you will find that information in the website now. Everything related to Hyderabad, I can find in the site. So this is the site what I developed. Okay. So because everyone is using the site, I get so many ads. I get so many ads now. Once I start publishing the ads, I'll make money from that. Got it or not? YouTube, how does it runs here? With ads only. Otherwise, they don't charge anything from you. But how they are maintaining a YouTube? Based on the ads, what they get. So basically tomorrow, the same scenario. You developed a hyderabadcity.com website. Complete information of Hyderabad. If anyone want to know anything about Hyderabad, they directly come and visit the site now. So in such scenarios, all the companies, all the retail business in Hyderabad, what will they do? They'll start giving ads to me now. I'll start publishing the ads in the website and I'll make money out of it. Are you clear? Now in this process, I want to show you the complete information about Hyderabad. So I want to show the weather report of Hyderabad also now. I want to show the weather report of Hyderabad in the top left corner of the site. In the top left corner of the website, it is going to show me the Hyderabad weather report. What is the current degrees, how much degree we have. Okay, likely to be rain, when the rain will come, all these things. I want to show that information. But how do you know weather report? Are you going to start a weather forecasting center for displaying the weather? How do you know, guys? How do you know the weather report? So basically, there are some companies which maintain this particular information for you. One of the best, well-known, everyone knows it, AccuWeather. In Google also you'll get it now, AccuWeather. So AccuWeather is a company which is going to maintain the weather forecasting information of all the places. Based on the longitude, latitude, you can know the weather report of any place throughout the world. Are you getting me? So just open Google, and in Google, I can just search weather report of New York. I want to know the weather report of New York City. I'll get it automatically. 16 degrees centigrade. Are you clear? Or throughout the world, I can get this particular information anywhere from now. So basically, to present this particular data, they maintain. Who will maintain? AccuWeather is a company which maintains it. They sell the data. What do they do? They sell the data. So basically, when you go in a contract with AccuWeather now, when you go in a contract with AccuWeather, they provide you a service now. They provide you a service. What you do? You will be sending a request to the service, and the service will provide the data, and the website will populate the data now. Means understand my point. End users are not going to talk with the services. Who will talk? Applications will talk with the services. Did you catch my point or not? I'm an end user. I send a request to a web application. What it will give me? Web page. Yes or not? But this web application is going to send a request to the service. Service will provide the data. Service will provide the data. The complete data is provided by the service. Are you clear? Okay. So like this, you'll be having the services in the middle, and these services don't give a web page to you. What will they give? Data. You require them data, na? I'll give you the data. Take the data and use the data. So now, if I have a contract with AccuWeather now, AccuWeather will provide me a service now. From my application, I need to send a request to the service. That service, what should I pass? I should pass some information. What is it? The name of the city, the country, all this data. If I send it, it will send me back the weather information. What I should do? I should take it now and I'm going to publish it. Same way you want to show the gold rate in Hyderabad. There is a separate service for that. I want to know currency rate in Hyderabad now. There is a separate service for that. We need to call these particular services and those services. And who maintains the services? Some company will maintain the services and they will be charging the sites now. Site will pay to the service. and the service will be providing the information what is required for you. Did you understand my point or not? So these are what we call services. Okay. Basically, long back, when the need of these services came, in somewhere around 2000, a concept was introduced in the market to build the services. Called as web services. Web services. So what is this web service? A web service is nothing but, we call the concept name as web service. Nothing but a service. Okay, what we call web service. We send a request to the web service. Web service will send me the response back. And the information flows here in XML. We call them as XML web services. What do we call? XML web services. So this is one of the very trending concept somewhere around 2000. To provide the data like this, they introduced a topic concept in the market called as XML web services. And by using this XML web services, request is sent to the service in a XML format and gets the response from the service back in a XML format. XML request, XML response. The data will go to and fro and the information exchanging used to happen. This is in 2000, very, very popular at that time. But unfortunately, the drawback with these web services is, if you want to use that web service, first, those services should be added as a reference in your project. For example, I will give you an assembly. You know what is an assembly? Some set of code, some set of classes. And you want to consume that assembly in your projects now. What will you do? Come on, fast. You will add a reference to the assembly. Once you add a reference to the assembly, you can consume that assembly now? Yes or not? But see, when you want to add a reference to the assembly should be on your local computer. You cannot add a reference to assembly which is present on a remote computer now. Are you clear? Assembly is nothing but a library. No, the service is also nothing but a library. That's all. Now the library is present on the local computer, remote computer. You cannot add a reference directly now. We have a concept called web reference. Means when I go in a contract with that, suppose it is a weather service here. I went in a contract with AccuWeather, the terms and conditions. I made the payment. My payment. Now they will provide me a URL. So what do I require to do? I require to add that URL as a web reference in my project. When I add the URL as a web reference in my project will contact the AccuWeather service now and will get all the details from that service. You learned this in C# also, recollect yourself. I given one assembly to you. That assembly is developed at my home. I'm giving that assembly to you. You want to consume now. What will you do? You will add a reference. In C# classes, I thought you remember, when you add a reference to an assembly, immediately the metadata of that assembly comes to you and that will be displayed for you in the form of intelligence. The complete data of that assembly is provided to you as metadata. Yes or not? The metadata, we discussed about this particular thing. In C# classes, we talked about it. When you add a reference, the metadata will come for you. What is metadata? In the sense, what are the namespaces, what are the types, what are the methods, signatures, all the information. And that is only going to be shown for you in the studio as intelligence now. Are you getting me? If that metadata is not there, how do you know what is the name of the class in my assembly? How do you know What is the name of the class in my assembly? You don't know. How do you know what is the namespace? How do you know what is the class name? How do you know what is the method name? How do you know what parameters the method will take? You don't know anything now. All that information is important to you. And how will you get the information? The metadata of the assembly is coming into the studio, and that information is published to you in the form of intelligence. Yes or not? That is in the local machine. Now you want to consume a library or a service on a remote computer now? Same process, not normal reference. What you require to add? Web reference. When you add a web reference, immediately the complete metadata of that assembly of that service will come to your computer now. The complete metadata of that service will come to your computer, and it will build one class to you on the machine. It will build you one class to you on the machine. You don't require to write any coding for it. You add a reference. When you add a reference, it will connect to there, bring all the data, and will provide you one class and tells you, create the instance of the class and start calling the methods. In the runtime, I will contact the service and get the data from the service. Did you catch my point or not? What happens first? The shopping cart application is adding a web reference to the service. The complete metadata of the service will come to the shopping cart application and builds a class, we call it as a proxy class. What do we call? Proxy class. What is a proxy in English? What is the meaning of proxy? Proxy is not a copy. Proxy means a representative. Proxy means a representative. See, you need to go for purchasing a site. You're required to go for a registration of a particular site. Unfortunately, you're not able to go. On behalf of you, can you send your father or your mother or your brother or any of your siblings or anywhere the blood relation? Can you send it for the registration? Yes, you can send. They can go and they can register the property on your name now. Are you clear? The person who is going there is called as your proxy. The person who is going there is called as your proxy. Got it? So now the actual service won't come to the client, will not see. This is the survey. This is the client now. This is the client now. That is the client for the shopping cart, but the shopping cart is a client for service now. Okay. So what happens? The client is the client is adding a web reference. When the client is adding a web reference, immediately the service metadata will come to the client, the shopping cart machine now, and will build a class. We call it as a proxy class. What you require to do, you require to create the instance of the class and call the methods. And when you call the methods in the runtime, what happens, the request goes to service. Service will contact the server, gets the data, sends the information back to the shopping cart. If valid, it will proceed. If it is invalid, the shopping cart application will inform it to the end user now. See now the number of machines participating for you in this now. Till now initially what we discussed? End user, web server. Later on, end user, web server, database server. Now see, end user, web server, it will contact the service now. That is a separate server. It will contact the service. This is a separate server. This will contact the database server, the Visa database server now. Number of systems are increasing up now. Yes or not? The number of systems are going to be increased for you in this process. Going forward tomorrow in the real time, this is how your architecture will be present. This is how your architecture is going to be present. Did you catch my point or not? Okay, so this is how the information. So what happens? A proxy class gets created here, and the proxy class will be conducting the service in the runtime. It will be contacting the service in the runtime. So this is how they introduced a concept called web services somewhere around the year 2000. Very popular at that time. But the drawback with the service is, compulsory, I need to create the proxy class. If the proxy class is not created, you cannot use the service now. If the proxy class is not created, you cannot use the service. Second problem is tomorrow, if the service is updated, for some reasons they made some changes to the service now. That changes won't reflect in the shopping cart application here now. Yes or not? You added reference today. I created a proxy class today with all the methods. Tomorrow, new methods are added in the service now. For existing methods, parameters are updated. All that information won't come now. Yes or not? What should I do? I need to again go for refreshing the services again now. Again, refresh. How many people will be consuming this service? N number of shopping cart applications will contact the service now. Yes or not? How do you inform this data to all the people now? I updated my service. Are you getting my point or not? Until and unless this information is again re-referenced, you won't get the latest information. So this is the biggest problem what you'll be facing with the web service. That's why once upon a time, even though it is popular, day by day, these web services became outdated. These web services became outdated. And in the place of that web services, they introduced a different concept called as RestFul services. In the place of the web services, they introduced a concept called as RestFul services. What are these RestFul services? In RestFul services, we don't add any web reference at all. We don't add any web reference. What is given to you is a URL. What is given to you is a URL. Use the URL in your application. Use the URL. No need of creating a proxy class. No need of creating a web reference. Nothing is required. Just only add a URL. That URL is used in your application now. Are you clear? In the runtime, you're going to send a request to the URL. Now under this, the requests are categorized into different types. Like what? Get request, post request, put request, delete request. What's a get request? Get request means select operation. If the request is a get request, it is a select operation. If the request is a post request, it is an insert operation. If the request is a put request, it is an update operation. If the request is a delete request, it is a delete operation. How do I specify that, sir? Recollect yourself. Yesterday in the JSON request, we specified a type get. The get indicates I'm sending a request to get the data. Same way, if at all I want to perform an insert operation, the type should be changed to post now. It will go and perform an insert now. URL is same, guys. URL won't change. URL is same for all. What will change? Type will change. If the type is a get, it will perform select operation. If the type is a post, it will perform an insert operation. Other way, update operation. When if it is a put request, if it is a delete, it will perform your delete operation. Like this, we are just being provided with a different kind of operations there. So they are basically mapped with the URL. So the biggest advantage is no need to add a web reference. Tomorrow code is updated. Let it update. What is the problem for me? I don't have a proxy on my system now. I don't have any proxy created on my system. Is my point clearer or not? These proxies doesn't require to be updated. So that is what we call as RESTful services. Are you clear? Now, this is a RESTful, suppose this is a RESTful service now. Okay. Earlier, this is a web service. Today, RESTful service. How to build a RESTful service, sir? You can build RESTful. See, how to build a web service. You can build a web service anywhere you want. You can build a web service by using Java. We call them a Java web services. We can build a web service in .NET. We call them as ASP.NET web services. You can build a web service using Python web services. You can build a web service by using SAP. We call them as SAP web services. Anyone can build a web service. Same way, how to build a RESTful service. To build a RESTful service also, we have different options available in different places now. Suppose You want to build a RESTful service in .NET. You want to build a RESTful service in .NET. If you want to build a RESTful service in .NET, we have a concept called WCF. WCF, Windows Communication Foundation, is one option. Second option, Web API. Web API. These two are used for building RESTful services. How to build RESTful services in Java? In Java, if you want to build a RESTful service, we have a concept, Java REST services, REST API. The name itself is REST API only, I think. REST API only. It is called as a REST API in Java. But in .NET, we don't call REST API, what we call Web API. Names are different here, but the concept behind all this particular thing is, we call them as REST services. What we call? REST or RESTful services. RESTful services. So earlier we have web services. The web services are replaced by RESTful services. And we are now using the RESTful services in the industry. You can build RESTful services. No, they are not same. They are not same. REST services are going to be built by using Java. You can build REST services by using SAP. We can build REST services by using Python. We can build REST services by using .NET. So many REST services are available in the industry. Are you getting me or not? Okay. So tomorrow you can consume this REST services now, and you can start building your applications now. Are you getting me? I want to build a flight ticket booking. I want to build a flight ticketing application now. A mobile app or a web app. I want to build a site booking application. Did you understand my requirement? I want to build a website for doing it. Guys, you can build a site, but think yourself here. If at all you want to build a site booking, what you need now? You require the information of all the flights. Yes or not? You require the information of all the flights now. Only one operator. So many operators are there in the market now. All the operators' information you require to get. How do you get it? How do you get it? Okay, watch, guys. So actually, it is syncing. Hold on. Taking a lot of time. Okay, let it load. Basically, actually, we are building an application, guys. Our current in our company, we are building an application and on flight ticket booking. flight ticket booking. Okay. So how do I get the details of the flights? Means we are provided with some web services. We are provided with some, not web services, API services. So all the APIs are given. Now we can use that API in our code now, and we can just build a UI. My application will contact the API. API will provide me, will get the data from all the different flight operators, and it will provide me the information. And what is my job? My job is to display the information to users. You see, so many mobile apps are there where you can book your flight now. Go Ibibo, IRCTC. Even in IRCTC, you can book now. Yes or not? Make My Trip, Agoda. A lot of companies are there. What all these companies will do? All these companies will contact or consume the services what I'm going to show you now. Okay, watch it. These are all for flight booking services. They're available. Watch him. This is an API which provides you the agency balance. This is an API which provides you search, flight search. This is for seats and baggage insurance. This is for the fare calendar, date wise. You see in any shop, any online application, you see date wise fares. This is an API to see any penalties for the appropriate user. Fare quota, book a ticket. It is for book a ticket. It is to get the booking details. API for cancelling the booking. Change or update your booking. Find out the change request status. Get the cancellation charges. Okay, the test cases, some test cases, all. These are the different APIs now. And basically they'll provide an API. Then we go to the API, and inside of the API, we'll check it out. What exactly is the service? What input should I provide? What it returns to me? All these particular things. See, if I want to book a ticket, not this. This is a book ticket. This is a calendar fare. This is a calendar fare. So we need to pass all this information as a request. We need to pass all this information as a request, means method input parameters, request parameters. What is it? End user IP address. For every user, it will generate one token. What is this token? When you open the application, it will generate and give you one token. And that token value will be used here. Journey type. Okay. Preferred airline, segments, origin, destination, flight cabin class, preferred departure time, source, from where you want to travel. If I provide all this information, I'll get this as a response. Trace ID, origin, destination, search results, airline code, airline name, the departure time. Is this a lowest fare of the month? True or false? What is the base fare? What is the tax? Fuel charge. This is the fuel charge. Any other charges? Okay, what is the response status? It's a enum, guys. Response status is a enum. A list of values will come. If there is any error, error code, error message, all this will come to you as a output now. This is the complete information to get the calendar fare now. This is an API which provides the baggage and the insurance. This is an API for search. If you provide this information for search, end user IP, adult count, child count, infant count. You want a direct flight, you want a one-stop flight, type of journey. See, the type of journey is enumeration, one way, return, multi-stop, advanced search, special return. Like this, these are all going to be the enum constants now. Next, the preferred airlines. See, the filter works only on GDS airlines, null for all. A19W, okay, some series is there. We are not completely aware of that particular things. Some segments, origin. Origin means from where you're going to start, where the flight starts. Origin means from where the flight starts. The flight starts at Delhi, comes to Hyderabad, and goes to Kolkata. So what is the origin? Delhi. Delhi is the origin. Destination, it is going to Kolkata. See now, origin is at Delhi. Destination is Bombay. The destination is Bombay. These are the codes. These are the airport codes. Okay. Flight cabin class. 1 for all class. 2 economy. 3 premium. Business class. Premium business. First class. In the airport, in the flight, you'll have all the classes. Preferred departure. And the date and time will come you in this format. Hours, minutes. Year, minute, date, time, hours, minutes, seconds. Okay. And next, preferred arrival time. When you want arrival time should be pressed. Sources. What are the sources? Sources for normal airlines like Indigo Airline, Air India, Air Costa, something. It is going to have some string sources. All this information. This is not a mandatory one, but it is optional. And all this is input, guys. Search request. And when the request is sent, the response will come to you. Trace ID, origin, destination, results. Array of can be blank in case not found for requested flight search. Result index, it is going to give the index. Sources, the airline source, say SpiceJet 3, Amadeus 4, Galileo 5, Indigo 6, Go Air 10, Air Arabia 13. These are the codes for the airlines now. Okay, is Indian Airlines there? Yeah, Air India. Air India, we have Air India. Okay, 14. Air India Expressdom 15. We have Air Asia, Indigo, so many, SpiceJet, all these are the basic travel, TrueJet. Okay, this is a mandatory parameter. It is a response what you get. LCC or non-LCC value for true. I don't know what is the LCC. We get all the information. How to use that is secondary. To whom you're building, I'm building an application for a company here. They will tell you. Because they want to sell the flight tickets. They want to sell the flight tickets. They know the complete information. I don't know. Why? I'm not a functional expert. I'm a technical expert. I'm not a functional expert. I don't know how the flights run. Yes or not? I know how to build an application. Who has to tell me? The functional expert. There should be a functional expert there. Someone who works in the airline will tell you what is LCC. Understood? Is it refundable? Tomorrow if you cancel, is the fare refundable or not? Any remarks on the airline? Caution means someone writes some remarks. The airline cabin crew is not good. Okay, something. Any remarks on the airline? Fare? In what currency? What is the base fare? Tax? All the data. See there. It will return you the complete information. Baggage weight, bag, everything. Lot of data is coming, see. Are you clearer or not? Okay, see, that understand now. How do I want to just build an application for airline booking now? How do I get the data? Am I going to each and every airline and ask him, provide me your information on daily basis? How then? See that the service is going to give you. This service will contact the airline companies and provide the data to you. Are you getting me? What your mobile application should do? Your mobile application should contact the service now. End user opens the mobile application. Mobile application contacts Developed by Travel Boutique. This is the company who developed this particular APIs now. And this Travel Boutique services are going to contact the airline companies now. And airline companies will provide all the information to Travel Boutique. Travel Boutique is going to provide the information to the mobile app. And mobile app is going to show the data to the end user. You guys are clear what is the service now? Yes or not? So that doesn't give you pages. That gives you data. Understand the difference between web application and a web API. Web application will give you a page as a response. Web API will give you data as response. You won't get page as a response, data as a response. Do I call web APIs directly? No, we don't call a web API directly. What is it? Some application can call. Either a desktop application can call an API, a mobile application can call an API, or a web application can call an API. Are you getting my point or not? So basically for a client, we are building this application. So the client has given us all the APIs to us and said that go through them, go through all these APIs. We'll provide you the complete information to you and we will start building a application. So if everything is materialized, means we have a lot of discussions with the client here. How many hours it will take, how many resources are required, what is the payment. If everything goes forward, the contract goes, we will start building the application. We are just in the discussion phase. That's all now. We are just in the discussion phase with the client. Client has given us all this and said, go through us, come out with a quotation, so that if it is work out for us, let us go forward. This is what. So we are just still analyzing all the services. Each and every service is given to one developer in the company now. Each and every service is given to one developer in the company, and they asked us to analyze. They asked us to analyze all these things, whether you understood about it. So try to write your remarks. There we saw, is LCC something? You don't know what is LCC? So you need to make a note now. What is it? Tomorrow when there's a client meeting, I should ask the client, what is LCC? Is it mandatory? Whatever you understand, fine. Okay, go forward. Whatever you did not understand, make a note. Tomorrow in the client discussion, you're required to ask all the information from the client and gather the data. See, starting developing an application is not an easy task. It's not like 1 day, 2 day. A lot of discussions will happen, 2-3 months process that is. If everything materializes, go forward. Otherwise, it stops. Understood my point or not? Okay, so this is how we just work out. Actually, right now, our current client is Brother Printers. Our current client is Brother Printers. We are building application. We build applications for them. BrotherUSA.com. Site name is wrong. All sites are developed by us. All these sites are developed by us. Brother Printers, one of the popular, very big brand in Japan. It's a Japan-based company, and they have their operations in US, Japan, a lot of MNCs, a lot of countries. Okay, so we built all the applications for them, and here we display the information of the different printer models, and we get this information from SAP. We don't maintain this information. All this information is maintained by Brother. Brother maintains all this information. Where? In SAP. Are you clear? Understand carefully. Brother maintains all this information in SAP. In our company, we have an SAP team. The SAP team writes APIs for us. APIs for the web. We are web team. We are the web team. The SAP team writes services, APIs, and gives us. What we do, we call the API. API will get the data from the SAP, will provide us, and we will present the data in the meaningful format to the users now. I am not getting this data from a database. Did you get my point or not? My application is not fetching this data from a database at all. My application is fetching this data from a API. API is fetching the data from the SAP. So from SAP, it will come to API. From API, it will come to my application. End user is seeing, end user knows all this. End user sees, okay, I like this printer, purchase the printer. That's all. How is it going forward? That is not a point for end user. As an end user, if you think this is getting a data from API, why do I care from where you're getting the data? Is my information worthful or not? That's all. But if you think like a developer, then you should. How are you getting this data? The question makes sense now. You're getting this data from a database? No, getting a data from a API. Okay. So your application is contacting API. API is contacting a database and getting all this particular information. As a developer point of view, we need to understand in one way. End user point of view, we need to think in another way. End user point of view, what do you think? Is this page going to provide all the information you require? I'm talking with you only here, blank faces always. I'm telling you something important tomorrow when you go to the real time and you put blank faces. What do you are? What, as an end user, what do you think? Is it showing the information what I require? Is it worthful? That is what. How is it getting the data? None of my business here. Go to hell. Write anything you like. I don't care. Is this information useful to me? That's all. Up to that extent only I'm an end user. Are you getting me? You say you're not, the data is not coming correctly. The data is not getting displayed properly. And you are the developer. I'm the end user. I did not like the information. You're sitting beside me and telling, I have written a lot of coding for this. I got this data. I contacted like this. Go to hell, yeah. You're paid for that. Nah. Why all this nonsense for me? I don't want it. Is this information worth for me? That's all. Are you getting my point? Now, as a developer, if you open the site now, as a developer, you open the site, what you require to think, how this information is getting loaded here. How this information is getting loaded here. Okay. Is it going to look good? How to improvise the look of this still? How to make it much more beautiful? Are you getting it or not? How to make it much more beautiful? You think, this feature is not good. If this is like this, it may be good. You may think, you may get an idea. That is how you should think as a developer. Got it or not? Are you clear, all of you? Do you get the idea of an API now? Earlier, all these are web services and now they are REST API. Earlier, the web service. In a web service, what is the headache for me? In a web service, compulsory, all the services should be web referenced in my project now. After going for a web reference, proxy classes will be created on that. I require to create the instance of those proxy classes and consume them. Tomorrow, if the service is updated, I don't know. I don't know that information now. So right now, API came and said, no, you're not going to create anything on your application. Simply, I'll give you the complete information to you. See the site, the information. What is the API? What input you should pass? What output it will give you? That's all. Use the URL and send the request. Getter, poster, all the appropriate thing. Here also, is it mentioned anywhere? Let me check. It will tell you get request, post request. Mostly they all get request only. Why? Getting the data. All of you see? REST service. REST stands for representational state transfer. Stands for representational state transfer. Okay. So mainly here, CRUD operations are linked with HTTP methods. CRUD operations are linked with HTTP methods. Select is linked with get. Okay, na? Insert is linked with post. Update is linked with put. Delete is linked with delete. This is a post method. Mainly, they have to list it somewhere. If you go there, that will tell you whether it is a get request, post, all these things. Means if at all you are a book flight, book is a post. Search and all are get request and all. The API is not telling you methods to post JSON data. Information includes single query, difference between normal. Somewhere if you read the article, somewhere you will be finding that information, whether it is a getter, poster, HTTP getter, HTTP post, you'll find all the appropriate data. Somewhere that will be listed. Without listing, you can't know that. But yeah. Am I clear, all of you? Okay. Now come back to our notes, guys. Have a look. Read it. API stands for is a framework for building HTTP services that can be accessed from any client, including browsers, desktops, mobiles, device. Browsers means web applications, desktop applications, mobile applications. It is an ideal platform for building RESTful applications on the .NET framework. On the .NET framework. Okay, next point. Array, API is a library here. Library is a set of methods. Set of methods. A set of subroutines. Subroutine is nothing but a method. Definition, protocols, tools for building a software and applications. Putting in simple terms, API is an interface which has a set of methods that allow programmers to access specific features or data of an application or an operating system. Or tomorrow, you want to do something on the operating system. OS can provide you one API now. Using that API, you can interact with the OS. Simple, I'll tell you. You have a command window. Command window is an API to talk with operating system, man. Command window is an API to talk with the help of the commands. You use some commands now and you're interacting with the OS now. Understood my point? Okay. Next. Web API, as the name suggests, is an API over the web, which can be accessed using, it's a concept and not a technology. We can build web API using different technologies such as Java, .NET, Python, etc. For example, Twitter's REST API provides programmatic access to read and write data using which we can integrate Twitter capabilities into our own application. Tomorrow, a newspaper company wants to post the tweets put by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister is going to make a tweet and a newspaper agency want to display that information to the other. Are you clear? Twitter provides an API. If that API is integrated into your application, you can provide the user ID and read the tweets of the appropriate person in your application now. Are you getting me? I'll tell you. Did you book your tickets in Book My Show? When you ticket booking in Book My Show, you'll get a WhatsApp message. How you're getting the information in WhatsApp? You book a ticket in Book My Show and message is coming in WhatsApp now. WhatsApp gives you an API. And if that API is used in Book My Show, using that API, they will send the information to WhatsApp. Otherwise, how can they send here? They will open every day. They will take your contact number. They will add Book My Show is going to add there in mobile now your number and send a message. Millions of people will book tickets every day now. That should be automated. So WhatsApp will provide you API. If you get that API integrated into your application, automatically application only will send a message to WhatsApp server. WhatsApp server will post to the user. Got it? Twitter API, WhatsApp API, Facebook API, lot of APIs are available in the market. Only thing is, we need to purchase them. We need to purchase those particular things. All these are not free. Right now, it has given you a documentation of all the services to me. They are not free, guys. It has given a documentation. You want to consume them? I need to pay money to, who is it? Who is the company name we saw? Travel Boutique. The Travel Boutique, I need to purchase from Travel Boutique. And once I purchase from Travel Boutique, the service will work for me. Understood me? This is only a documentation. Anyone can read the documentation. To read a documentation, nothing problem. Nah. You cannot consume them. For consuming, you're required to make your payments first. So everyone will provide you APIs or services like this. Okay. Understood? Twitter's REST API provides programmatic access to read and write data using which we can integrate Twitter capabilities into our own application. In ASP.NET Web API is an extensible framework for building based services that can be accessed in different applications on different platforms such as web, Windows, mobile, etc. It works the same as ASP.NET MVC web application, except it sends data as a response instead of view. That's what the first point I said you. You are building an MVC application. What it sends as a response? View as a response. But this is going to send you data as a response. It is like a web service or WCF service. First only I said you, first we have web services. Afterwards we have WCF services. First we have web. Second option, WCF. Now web API. Rest of web API. Okay. But the exception is that only support HTTP request. It will support only HTTP request. Okay. What is that? I'll tell you. What is that? Only HTTP request, I'll tell you. This is a web API, guys. Web application. Sends a request. The response, you can receive it in JSON, XML, or any other format you like. Binary format, you can get a text format, we can get any format you can get. This is a mobile application. Same. Desktop application, Windows Forms application, same. Anyone can interact with the API. You will get the data in a text format, either XML, JSON, or binary. XML or JSON or binary. Anything you can just get it. No issues. Okay. Now let's understand the background. Background of API. Connectivity between applications is very important aspect from a business application perspective. Yeah, connectivity is very, very important. That's what I started first here. The shopping cart application requires a connectivity with the Visa server. Yes or not? And at the same way, Visa want a connectivity with the shopping cart application also. Why? If Visa doesn't want, you don't have business now. If business goes only, the bank will entertain Visa. Understood my point or not? The bank gets business, then only it will give a contract to Visa to maintain all the data. Bank doesn't have business. Why will they give to Visa now? That's it now. Business. All these are business needs. Everyone should be, everyone should talk with each other. Then only, see, you want to, someone is manufacturing some goods now. And this particular person thinks, I won't just give to other people. Then you sell it now. But how many people can you sell now? Did you get my point or not? No, I want to expand my business. What do? You get in contact with the retailer now. You will send the goods to the retailer. Retailer will send the goods to, you will have distributors now. Distributors will send the goods to different states. There in different state and different city, we have retailer. Retailers will send the goods to the retailer will send the goods to the customer now. The retailer will send the goods to the customer. You have a dealer, distributor, distributor to retailer, retailer to customer. It reaches. But if the manufacturer thinks like, no, I don't want to do business with all these people. I will only sell to the people who comes to me. You sell it, but your market is limited. Who knows? Only people who live in your area, maybe in your city. That's all. People throughout the country doesn't know. Yes or not? See, global market, you cannot achieve. If you want to get it, you need to have communication with all. So here also, all the applications should be communicating with each other now. Connectivity between applications is very important aspects from a business application perspective. Nowadays, there are a lot of mobile applications and single page applications are being created, and such applications need a strong service and that provide this application with the data and CRUD operations on the data. They will provide the data and CRUD operations on the data. Okay, we are talking about the background, guys. We are not talking about web API. We are talking about the background. So what is the first point telling you? Connectivity between the applications is important. So to provide the connectivity, first what we have, SOAP and ASP.NET web services. What is SOAP? I already said about web services to you. What is SOAP? SOAP is a protocol for communication between the applications. It is a protocol, simple object access protocol. Simple object access protocol. That is a protocol actually. And based on this protocol, your web services will be running actually. Traditionally, web services using SOAP and XML provided a great way of creating connected web application. SOAP is a standard XML-based protocol that communicates over HTTP. We can think of SOAP as a message format for sending messages between applications using XML. It's a independent of technology, platform, and language also. What is that, sir? I build a SOAP service by using Java. Listen carefully. I'm building a SOAP service using Java. I can call that service from C#. You can call that service from C#. Yes, I can call the service from C#. How, sir, it is Java? See, what is it giving you? Data. That's it now. What is it giving you, guys? Data. If it gives data, in which format it is giving? Text format, XML. Then where language is important for you now? A Java application sending data to .NET application, send it. You're not sending any code. What are you sending? A Java application sends code to Java .NET application. .NET doesn't understand Java code now. But not sending code now. What is it sending? Data. I got some data in a table now. I'll take the data, send it to you. You call from a C# application. You call from a Python application. So it is independent of the language, independent of the platform. The service is running on Linux. I want to call it from Windows. Call it. Call it. Independent of the platform, independent of the language. From anywhere to anywhere you can use them. ASP.NET web services provide an excellent way of creating SOAP-based web service. But this is the first option here. In 2000, what we got first is web services only. In 2000, what we got first is web services. Okay. But why these web services are not being used now? Read problems with SOAP and web services. Read it. Stop at the first point. Stop there. At a full stop, stop there. What is it telling you? I want to send some data called hello. Hello world is the data I want to pass. With that hello world, a lot of other nonsense also gets transferred. Are you getting my point or not? Okay, you want to purchase a dress. You want to purchase a dress. You went to a small store on the roadside. You went to a small store in the roadside. You went to a store. But along with you, you have taken 10 people. You have taken 10 people. You are the one who is going to purchase the dress now. 10 people came into the store now. And everyone starts saying, this is good, that is good, and becomes a big nuisance. After 10-15 minutes, the shopkeeper will tell you, please don't purchase, get out from here first. Yes or not? It become a nuisance now. Everyone sees 11 people, a lot of crowd. But what is that? One is going to purchase and is a big nuisance now. Same way, SOAP service is also same problem now. Along with the data, a lot of nonsense also will come here. Are you getting me or not? So when the data flows, you're required to count the internet speed also here. Lot of data going up and down now. Your bandwidth and all the issues will come into picture here. Yes or not? Okay. So that is one of the major first problem. Understood? Huh? Second. Why do you need that extra information? To find out the capabilities of the service, what the service can do. This information is all going to be transferred. Okay. Is all first point only. This makes the payload heavy even for, that's what I said here. One purchasing the dress, 11 people entering into the showroom now. How many people? One only, but 10 people are extra now. All this is going to be a payload. Means heavy load in the store here. Am I correct? Exactly the same thing. Also, web services need the client to create a proxy on the end. These proxies will do the marshalling and unmarshalling of SOAP. What is this? Conversion here, the data conversion. Whatever data you get, that will be converted. Actually, I'll tell you in a simple ways. In C#, you have data set now. Data set. Data set will hold you the data in a table format. Tomorrow you go to Java. Java doesn't have data set here. In the place of data set, Java has something called as result set. What is it called? Result set. Now, there is a Java web service, Java web service that is going to give me the data from a table, that is going to return the data from a table in the result set format, Mean the return type of the method is result set. Are you clear? But do you know what is the result set in C#? I want to consume from Java, no problem. But I want to consume from C# now. Yes or not? So what happens? The result set will first convert into XML. XML data comes to our machine. On our machine, the result, this XML will convert into data set. That is called marshalling, unmarshalling, converting from the appropriate format to the appropriate. Tomorrow, if I am going to send some data in a data set format to Java application, what happens now? Data set first converts into XML. XML will reach the Java application, converts into result set. It is going to convert into the result set. And all these things to take care, we need these proxy classes to be present on the client computers. Okay, and makes the communication between the applications and the web services possible. The problem with the proxy is that if the service is updated, and the proxy on the client is not, then the application might behave incorrectly. The service is updated here, but I don't know it is updated now. My proxy is not updated still. So what will happen? You will not get the correct results now. Got my point or not? This is the two major problems. What is the first problem? Lot of nonsense is carried in each request and response. Second thing, these proxy classes should be created on the client machine, and any updates on the server are not known to the client until and unless you explicitly refresh the proxy classes. New changes will not be affecting to you. This is the second drawback with the web services. Okay, now. Next. What I said you, to overcome the problem, we have REST. Introduction of REST now. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. This is a protocol for exchanging data over a distributed environment. The main idea behind REST is that we should treat our service as resource, and we should be able to use a simple HTTP protocols to perform various operations for example, when we talk about the database as a resource, we usually talk in the terms of CRUD now. If database is a resource, how do you talk now? I want to do select, insert, update, delete. CRUD, correct? Create is insert. You know this already. Now, the philosophy of REST is that for a remote service, all these operations should be possible, and they should be possible by using simple HTTP protocol. Now, the basic CRUD operations are mapped to the HTTP protocol in the following manner. Read it. First one, get. This maps to the R, retrieve part of the CRUD operation. This will be used to retrieve the required data from the remote service. Next, post. Post is create. Create means insert. This will create a new entry for the current data that is being sent to the server. Put. Update part of the CRUD. Map it to the update part of the CRUD. The protocol will update the current representation of the data on the remote server. Delete. This maps to the delete part of the CRUD operation. This will delete the specified data from the remote server. Are you clear? Okay. In database terminology, what we call select, insert, update, delete. In your application terminology, we call CRUD. Create, read, update, delete. In your service terminology, we call them as get, post, put, delete. Are you getting me? The term or the wording is different here. Conceptually, all are same only. Yes or not? Conceptually, all are going to be one and the same. The way you spell them is going to be different. That's all. Let us take a simple example of some remote service that contains a database for list of movies. And the list of movies can be retrieved using a URL like this. What is it? www.movie moviewebsite.com is the domain name. Okay. To differentiate between MVC and Web API. To differentiate between MVC and Web API. How do you call an action method in MVC? Tell me. Don't say localhost, domain name. Slash. Or when you go domain name, why port will come here? Domain name, port won't come na. Domain name, controller, action, and any route values required. Yes or not? So what do you have? Route values. Any route values. May be present, may not be present. Now you are going to call an API. In API also we call controllers only. API controllers we call. What we call? Till now you build MVC controllers. Now you are going to build API controller. How do you call them? Watch. HTTP domain name slash to tell it is a API. This is compulsory. Slash controller. That's it. Cache controller. Are you clear on what I'm telling you? Sir, which action method it calls? Understand. If this is a get request, it will go and call the get method. If it is a post request, it will go and call the post method. If it is a put request, it will go and call the update method. If it's a delete request, it will go and call the delete method. But how do I say, sir, this is a get request, a post request? I'll show you. I'll show you how to specify. Yesterday in the JSON, we put that, remember, type get. Correct or not? Same way, type post, type put, type delete. For everything, URL is same. URL won't change. Did you catch my point or not? URL won't change. What will change? Type will change. That's all. Based on the type, a different action method gets invoked. And here also, if needed, you can pass route values. You can pass the route values. So concentrate, guys. Look at the URL. Tell me what is www.movieswebsite.com domain name slash API slash. What is that? Controller name. Movies is the controller name now. API is common for all the API. Movies is to tell the controller name. See the next URL. See the next line. To retrieve any ID for each movie, then we can retrieve the movie. The possible URL might look like this now. Watch now. Domain name, API, controller name, route value. ID is my route value. 1, 2, 3 is what I'm passing. The 1, 2, 3 comes now and executes the code. Is it clear? This is how the URLs will be there. Since these are GET requests, data can only be retrieved from the server. To perform other operations, if we use same URI structure with put, post or delete operation, we would be able to create, update and delete the resources from server. Now, if we compare REST API and SOAP, we can understand the benefits of REST, like first benefit. I don't have any nonsense being carried to and fro now. What will travel? Only the data travels now. Only the data travels. But in the previous example, what we discussed, like not only data, a lot of metadata travels. Here, no metadata, only data. Only data. Second. Only data is coming now. Application will receive the data and starts processing the data. I don't require any proxies to be created. You cannot have multiple gets and multiple posts. One get, one post only. It can be HTTP or HTTPS only. This question doesn't make sense at all. That depends upon your configuration. You can make it HTTP also. You can make it as HTTPS also. Okay. Multiple gets, multiple posts will not be there. We just go for overloads. That's all. Now, Now, what we have first? API. What came now? Sorry. What is first? Web service. What came now? RESTful service. What came now? I did not tell anything about web API. I'm talking about RESTful services. That's all. What is the RESTful service? What is the advantage of REST service over web service? Read here anywhere. I did not talk about web API. See there. I said you only REST service. That's all. And here also, I only talked about the advantages of REST with SOAP now. Understood my point here? Now the question is how to build a REST service. How to build a web service. We have ASP.NET web services. We have ASP.NET. We can build a web service. But now you want to build a REST service. How to build a REST service now? To build a REST service in 2008, first Microsoft came out with a concept called WCF, Windows Communication Foundation. That is the foundation. As the name tells, that is the foundation for REST service. But still, we don't use that in the industry. Reason is very complex configurations. Very complex configuration should be done. Okay, read it, you'll understand. WCF REST service. Windows Communication Foundation came into existence much later than the web service. It provided a much secure and mature way of creating the services to achieve whatever we are not able to achieve with the traditional web service. Other protocols support duplex communications. A lot of features are there. With WCF, we can define our services once and configure it in the way we want. And it can be used via HTTP, TCP, IPC. Lot of different protocol support was available here. And even message queues. When is also one protocol. HTTP is a protocol, TCP is a protocol, message queue is a protocol. They all message queues are basically used for push services, push messages. You know push messages? You know push messages? Every day in your mobile, all the application will show you alerts. Na? Or you install Amazon. Amazon will show you something, or some deal, 10% off or 50% off or flat. That is called push messaging. That is called as push messages. Means the server will push the messages and all the systems, all the mobiles where Amazon is installed, the message will come there. And that works on message queues. That works on the message queuing protocol. We can even configure WCF services to create REST services too. That is, we got WCF in 2008. Using this WCF also, we can build REST services. I repeat, guys, we have WCF in 2008, and using WCF also, we can build REST services, but very, very complicated. See, the problem with using WCF REST services is that we need to do a lot of configurations in a WCF service to make it RESTful service. WCF is suited for scenarios where we want to create a service that should support special actions such as one-way messaging. What is the one-way messaging? That's what a push messaging is. One-way messaging only. Amazon sends you a message. Can you send a message to Amazon now? That's what one-way messaging. Next, message queues. Sometimes there'll be two-way messaging. We send a message, they'll post you a message. For example, you received a message from your mobile operator. Want to configure Hello Tune? Send yes. Yes or not. You send a yes now, you will get a response. Today, see, Geo and all this customer, you have WhatsApp support. How do they work? Have you noticed it? When you open that and you just type help, it will display menu. What you want? A for this, B for this, some commands will be given. You type that and send. Again, a response comes. Again, showing a menu. You select something. Again, a message goes. Message comes. That is two-way messaging. One-way messaging, two-way messaging. Okay. Like this, we just have different messaging options. What we have. Duplex communication. Not completely sure of it. Just Google for it. Are the services that needs to be confirmed to WS specification. Whereas using WCF for creating REST services, that will provide fully resource-oriented service over HTTP is little complex. We are not learning about it here. I'm only telling you, we used to have an option, but still that is going to be complicated and we are not using it now. We are not using it. But tomorrow, interviewer asks you a question, can I build a REST service by using WCF? You should be in a position to answer. What is your answer? Yes, we can build, but that process is very, very complex. And for that reason, industry is not using WCF for building the REST services, but option is present. Is it clear? Still, WCF is the only option for a REST service if there is a limitation of using 3.5 framework. Did you understand when should I use WCF now? I'm building an application by using 4.0 framework. I'm building an application using 4.0 framework. Web API can be used. But I'm building an application by using 3.5 framework. Web API did not come then. We don't have Web API in the market still. Are you clear? Then what is the option? WCF only. You don't have any alternative now. Only WCF should be used. But if you're building a latest application, 4.0 framework, 4.5 framework, .NET 5, .NET 6, .NET 7, in all this, what you can use? API. Evolution of Web API. To overcome the above problems, Microsoft came out with ASP.NET Web API to facilitate the creation of REST services that can provide fully resource-oriented service for broad range of clients, including desktops, browsers, mobiles. I already shown you a picture in the first page only. REST API in the middle and all the different types of applications sitting around and communicating with it now. ASP.NET Web API is a framework for building REST services easier and in a rather simple way. Easy, simple. How Uber works, how Ola works, how Rapido works. Behind all these applications, there is an API. Did you understand my point? Behind all these applications, there is an API. Without internet, will it work? Tell me, why? Because when you open Uber or Ola or any of this particular application, immediately they will contact a API in the background and that API will be searching up all the details and get you. How your Google Maps work? Understood? Okay, behind all these applications which are dynamically showing you the changes or content, there is an API behind the screen on the server, and that API is providing the information to the applications to run. Are you clearer or not? So APIs are very, very important and very, very useful in application development going forward. Got it or not? So tomorrow you're a good web application developer. You're a very good web application developer. No doubt you can build an excellent application with using MVC now. But end of the day, from where your MVC application will get the data is the biggest question mark now. MVC application I'll build, I'll show beautiful outputs to you. But where the data should come from? Do you have a database? Well and good. No database. You need to contact someone and get the data. API. Again, API. Your MVC should talk with a API. See, means going forward, our application development will be like this now. Till now, how you are building, end user? Or I'll say client, connecting to MVC application going to get the data from a. This is what you've done from the last 2 months, guys. Yes or not? Mainly not 2 months, I'll say 1 month. If I get database communication, we saw from 1 month only. Earlier only client and MVC application, that's all. But from the last 20 days, 25 days, we have added the database. Now what is the change, Client talking with or I'll say RESTful service, and this is going to connect with to build this RESTful service, I can use Java REST API. I can use .NET's Web API. I can use Python. I can build these REST services by using SAP. Any way you can build a REST API now? Are you getting me? I shown you my client application now. Our RESTful services are not built by .NET. Our RESTful services are built by SAP. They have built all the REST services using SAP now. Now here I shown you a big list of various REST services now. How did they build? I don't know. I don't know here. Maybe they used Java to build that APIs now. Or maybe they used Python to build that APIs now. Or maybe they have used Web API to build it, or maybe they used SAP to build it. I don't know, and I don't require to know. Why? Information comes to me as text. When information comes to me as a text, how did you build your API is none of my business. Yes or not? You go to a restaurant for eating some food. You go to a restaurant for eating some food. Where did you purchase your grocery? None of my business. Why do I want? What I want, the taste of the food. Yes or not? Do you go and ask him, are you going to purchase your grocery from Reliance Mart, or you going for some Metro Mart, or where you go? Why for me? Understood my point? So I want the food. Is the food good? Quality is good? That's important for me. How they are going to purchase all this is nonsense. So exactly, my application wants to get some data from a API. How the API is built is none of my business. Okay. In our application, all our applications here, we have built our applications. Okay. I don't say MVC. I'll say web. Some of our web applications are built by using web forms. Some of our web applications are built by using MVC. Did you catch my point or not? Some of our web applications are built using web forms. Some are built by MVC. But all of them will contact a SAP REST service and getting the data from the SAP database. That is SAP's database, mainly Oracle is the database there. Oracle is their database. The Oracle database is providing information to REST service. REST service is sending to my web application. I am going to present it to the client. Is it clear? Okay, tomorrow, your company wants to build a REST service now. Your company wants to build a REST service, and they want to build a REST service using .NET. They want to build a REST service using .NET. How to build Web API. That is what we are learning now. Are you clear? So this is going to be our current architecture, all of you remember. Understood? I will build a REST service first. This REST service will have a communication with the database. Then I will build a web application using MVC. This MVC will go and call the REST service. The REST service will give the data and I will show to the client. But till yesterday, what you done? MVC application directly connecting to the database. Now MVC application doesn't have access to database. Database access is not given to me. Database access is not given to me. All the database is managed by the REST service. Clear? Read ASP.NET Web API characteristics. First point. ASP.NET Web API is ideal platform for building RESTful services. To build RESTful services, that is an ideal platform. Next. You know, ASP.NET request response pipeline, everything is same now also. So especially you don't require to learn anything now. You know MVC, request pipeline controller, action method, now also same only. Web API controller, action methods, everything will be same. And config, you have your config file now. Now also you'll have a config file. API config will be there. What will be there? API config will be there now. Okay, next. Methods means action methods. Your HTTP verbs are mapped now. HTTP get. It is a select. HTTP post. Insert. HTTP put. update, HTTP, delete. Next. You have JSON support, you have XML support, you have BSON, binary. BSON in the sense, binary. Next. You can host anywhere here. IIS, you can host self-hosted, means on your local machine, you can host. You can host it on your local machine or any server that supports. Understand here, Web API came in 4.0. That's why one point I said to you earlier, remember, if you want to build a REST service using 3.5, Web API cannot be used because Web API came in 4.0.NET. So that's why what to use in 3.5, 3.0, WCF should be used. 2.0, then WCF is also not there. WCF came in 3.0. WCF came in 3.0. Web API came in 4.0. See, if it came latter stage means compulsory it is advanced. That's it. Web services are in 2000 only. So in 2002 only, web services are available in .NET now. From .NET 1.0, web services are there. 3.0, WCF services came. 4.0, Web API services came. Next point. You are provided with one class, guys. What is the class name, you know? Use this class in any of your application and call the API. Use this class and call the API. I want to call the API from a desktop application. To call the API, you should take the help of that class now. Which class? HTTP client class. I will show you guys how to call, how to use that. Everything we'll see. I'll show you calling from MVC application, calling from jQuery. I'll show you all these options to you, different ways of calling it. jQuery also will see using Ajax calls. Means page won't refresh. Insert, update, delete, every operation will be performed. Ajax calling. I'll show you that in one style. Another style, I'll show you calling from a MVC application. But when I call from MVC application, I should take the help of this class. Remember that class name. What is the class name? We'll use that class and we'll call it. Okay? Yeah. Are you clear with this, guys? Yes or not? I'm not showing you how to build a web API, but just have a look on this. Tomorrow, if at all you want to build a web service, we'll stop it, guys. Hold on. You want to build a web service now. You want to build a web service. If you want to build a web service, actually, all of you look at this. Create a new project. ASP.NET web application. Next. Some name, I'm leaving it. I'm not creating it. Just I'm showing you that's all. Create. You select empty here. Okay. You want to create a web forms application, right? Select this checkbox. No, sir, I want to create an MVC application. I want to create a web API application. Are you clear? Don't select anything at all. Don't select anything at all. Web service. Did you understand me or not? Don't select anything at all. Web service. Are you clear? Select only this. Web forms application. Not selecting anything is a web service now. You can build a web service by using that. Are you guys clearer or not? Okay. I will tell you in detail about your web MVC, how to consume MVC and all. Ignore that. Suppose tomorrow you have an MVC application, guys. You have an MVC application. I'm opening any existing application. And in this, I want to consume a web service now. I want to consume a web service. Someone developed a web service, given me a URL now, given me a URL. See, just now, see, someone developed a API and given the URL, see, they are the URLs now. These are the URLs. Okay. So basically, someone developed a web service and given me a URL. So I want to consume that service in my application. I want to consume the service in my application. What you do? Open the Solution Explorer. Right click on the references. All of you know this option now. Right click on the references and then you select add reference. Correct? You know this option? This is the option what you require to add a reference to a web service. For adding a reference to web service, add web reference. When you click on this add web reference, it opens a window and here you're required to give the URL of the web service. You're required to give the URL of the web service. Once you give the URL of the web service and click on the go button, it will connect to the server and gets the complete information of the service, and it will show you all the classes and the methods and everything here. And once I click on the OK button, immediately it will build a proxy class. Did you understand the process? Yes or not? Okay, right now we are not finding this web services in the market here. Any free web services to consume. All are REST services only. Today we are not finding any web service. See, when I say web services, mostly what you're getting is REST only. Web services that keep saving money. URLs available. It also REST only. End of the day, they are all REST. Today, everyone changed up to REST. Is it a REST? Don't know. Not a service. Earlier, we used to have a lot of services, currency conversion sites. Currency, if you give the Indian price, it used to give you the dollar rates and all. Just a minute. Currency converter web service. We need to get the URL. No, they did not give the URL. They given a developer site, that's all. You enter the price and it will do the conversion. But if at all you have the URL, just a minute, whether it works or not, I'm not sure. We need to check it out, that's all. But basically, okay, I'm not there in the market right now. But once you give the URL here, and click on the go, it will immediately create a proxy class too. These proxy classes are automatically created and given. Okay, and you can start consuming those proxies in your applications. Clearer or not? But this reference adding, nothing will be present if you go with a web API. In web API, you will not find any reference ads or nothing here. Got it or not? Okay. So read these 3 pages carefully. All these 3 pages up to here. Read carefully. Next session, I'll show you how to build a web API. How to build this web APIs, I'll show you. Okay, let's stop here, guys. We'll meet on Monday.